guys, it is Punksnugglybear, and we are playing some F-Zero today. We will be doing the Grand Prix Night League on the beginner class, just like a new game, with the OG Blue Falcon. Um, like I said, this is probably the premier racing game, in my opinion, for the Super Nintendo. I've always been a fan of Mario Kart. I've always loved that game and that style, but for some reason, F-Zero was like a breath of fresh air and just a completely different style and futuristic. I really liked how fast the game is perceived and how you take damage, and it is all just based off of yourself. Like, you're not getting hit by random objects. It provides you, it's like, if you can dodge and you can make those tight turns, you'll have a pretty good time winning the race. The only thing that can really screw you is that if you accidentally like bump into an enemy, or you get into like the pack of like 3 or 4 and you just start bouncing off each other, that's when this game becomes a living nightmare. But the laps were like seem so fast, like each one just seems like to fly by, and just the colors, the backgrounds, I love blue and purple. Purple is my favorite color of all time, so a lot of these maps are just like really rich and vibrant, and I think that is what also separates itself. It's something that, like, I think it nails the futuristic theme um, in a game without having to try too hard. Like, Mario Kart has the Mario themes, the like, it has that staple of art style, and this came out and it was just like, wow, this is great. And then it led to further additions. There was one of my next favorites would be the GameCube edition, and then there was even a arcade edition, which was almost like a simulator one where you could sit down and race in that one. So like, definitely like, great game. Uh, I also like that the things that like slow you down and the traps that it has. So like, the what I call like sandy looking areas on the side of the screen. It's like, if you drive in the sandy looking areas, you'll slow down. Like, you'll go dead slow on that one. I also just hate that I was in first that entire race. Well, and so this is how that game can screw you. It's like, you could be first the entire race doing super well, and then you hit one of the obstacles or one of the just non-participants in the race that is flashing, which explodes and sends you into the corner. So I was doing really well. I thought everything was fine, and then boom, I lose my first place. That's but it's not like, oh, I got red shelled and then I got green shelled and then, oh wait, nope, I didn't get the mushrooms or anything. I think that was another interesting concept. Like, the boost system is rewarded after a completion of a lap. So once you can bank up to 3, and that's what's in the bottom right corner, is like, oh, okay, like, hey, you have a boost, and the boost doesn't, like, the way they did it is not where it feels like you're sent back to the screen and everything's sped up. It just feels like you are traveling faster, and you do have the sound cue that you're traveling faster. You have the engine rev up in this game, and I think what puts this game above everything else is the soundtrack. I I have this soundtrack just play sometimes in the background while I'm playing other video games, because they match the feeling of a good driving racing game with the perfect soundtrack. This is like something that I even would want to play in my car if I could just go down a long stretch of road and floor it, because it just gets you that like hyped up feeling of like, oh, okay, cool, like I'm going 350 kilometers per hour. Like, also, that was the funny thing I thought about, is that it's kilometers per hour, which I think that's the metric system. And so I always just never noticed that, actually. Maybe, wow, maybe I need to pay attention to the finer details in life. But And then I also like that you can blow up in these races. Like, you could literally blow up. Like, your ship can blow up and you, like, DNF in the race, and it gives you a try again screen. And that's like something that I think is really cool. I think that's another nifty feature. It's not just like, oh, you can take 12th place. It's like, no, you didn't finish the race. Please get better at these races. And the Night League or the Night Cup is just pretty much the basic introductions. A lot of these are just nice little smooth cut corners. I think the last map in this series is probably the one that I'm going to struggle with the most. But going from a third place finish to a first place finish feels really good. Didn't hit any of the unnecessary objects on the place. Well, and that's also something that I should mention is that yeah, they have obstacles on the course that aren't other racers, like the yellow and the yellow carts and the explosion carts, as I like to call them. It's that's your obstacle, that's your element of like, oh, here's this. Now, I also suck with hairpin turns. Something that is completely like I just need to flip around. I usually just like, oh, okay, I will throw myself into the wall and bounce off the wall to keep going, which is probably not the prettiest strategy, but it is a strategy overall. But oh, and also like I loved that they in the future games they introduced characters to drive the ship. So most people know this game for being famous for the introduction of Captain Falco, and who doesn't love Captain Falco, especially in the early Smash games with the Falco Punch? Like that, I think is a staple for every fighting game as well. Like F Zero was just breaking boundaries every day, but it added something that was like, yeah, now you have identical characters and their ships. And I think that was cool too because it was their ships. It wasn't like, oh, okay, choose your character and a ship. It was like, no, this is this character ship. Like, it's sort of the Han Solo and the Millennium Falcon. It's not like, oh, Han Solo in, oh, a TIE fighter or an X Wing. It's like, no, that is his ship and he's gonna claim ownership of it, and you know he flies it, even though he lets other people borrow it and fly it. We won't talk about that. Lando never flew the Millennium Falcon, and the only reason I'm talking about other like Star Wars is because it's fantasy fiction, like this game. I wouldn't say fantasy fiction. What is science fiction? Is Star Wars science fiction? Huh, that's actually an interesting question. I'm gonna have to see. Actually, tell me if you guys think Star Wars is fantasy fiction. So that's something that crossed my mind. Now, this is the part I hate being in because, especially being behind one of those guys, if you hit that, man, see, okay, that was just me, just giving the wall a few little love taps. You know, just letting him know that like I'm here for him. Like, you got to let them know. And this is where I probably am going to get screwed because this looks like the nightmare turn. Get it? Okay. Alright. As long as I'm not just bouncing off any of these guys into the wall, I hopefully will be able to finish this lap. But I have less than a sliver of health and see two guys in front of me and this green guy, and I feel, yep. Well, that was unexpected. I also like that the little animation is that your ship is blown up and it's like on fire in the middle of the course. But yeah, so you see there, it allows you to restart the level. Like it allows you to just jump back in, and it's like, oh, okay. And then I'm already back to a crappy start with I was bouncing off the pink guy. And I also like that they in this game that there's a safe. So there's less and less contestants after each of lap, and you can see that next to the rank in the top left. It'll say safe 15. So if you're anywhere above the 15th position, when the next lap turns over, you'll be safe. And then like the final lap is you have to get top three. So you can't finish in fourth in this game. If you finish in fourth, you blow up and die. So another interesting concept. Also, if you get, depending on your racing, there's a score counter, and if you get 10,000 points, that is an extra life or an extra ship. And the ships, like I said, are in the bottom right. Uh, will So if you blow up like I did just in that previous race, you'll be able to be granted another life, come back in and give it another go. And then of course you got the super, is that super, the boost meter underneath your little ship that has the S's. I also like that it's like it's green, but once you engage in it, it turns into like an orange color to say like it's active. And so like that's just another nice little like animation detail that I think a lot of people forgo when looking at video games and like playing video games. It's just like the really small details. Um, and then like for this one where it's like sand ocean, it's a sand ocean. It really is just sand, just all around the track. I think in later, oh god, me bouncing off the walls there was a pretty great experience. But I think in later versions or later maps, not versions, there is spots where you're gonna have to jump over like open areas of the map where you can just crash out and die in that sense. So like if you get hit and you fly off the map, and then they put actually more obstacles rather than this like graded course that slows you down. There's one where there's like mines that will like blow up and push you into the wall. We're back into low power mode, so I don't know. I think this is probably the map that I struggle with the most, but I haven't. This one and I think the last one, for some reason I want to call it Death Zone, even though I know it's not called Death Zone, is probably is the hardest ones for me. Like as you can see, I've already exploded on this map. It's just there's a lot of weird, tight corners and angles, especially with these NPCs, that you have to just be like, okay, swerve around, swerve around, swerve around. And so, as you can see, what I was talking about for the safe counter, it has the number 3 because this is the final lap, and that's the positions that you can finish in. So another nice first place finish. I like started in 4th, came up to 2nd, and then first. Okay, I like how this like it starts off with great names like Mute City and like Big Blue, and then it's like Deathwind, and that's like, but it's another addition. This is a giant oval map, and what you're fighting against is a perceived wind. So the wind is coming from the. It would be so when you first start off, it's left to right, and then when you turn around, it's right to left. So it is traveling across the screen. So you are always slightly being pushed over. So you can see me sort of like going straight, but being an angled car. So that's something that's really like interesting. Is like, oh, okay. And then it's the first time of the introductions of just boosts on the platform, and the pretty much like you have to recharge zone. And of course, if you haven't played this game, the zone where it's all sparkly on the ground recharges your power in the top right of the corner, and your power, of course, is your health. So if you take any damage, you bump into enemies, you bump into the electroshocks on the side of the course, you will definitely need to recharge it. And then this little ship comes over and shoots little green energy beams of health into you. The one thing that I find interesting about this level is even though it's a quicker level, the map or the laps of it isn't increased. I think in the like new Mario Kart they have the like baby baby Mario or baby Luigi track, which is a giant oval and everything, but I think it jumps its standard lappage up to 8 instead of the regular one. just because of the speed of completion of those levels. And then this is where everything starts to go awry, is because I hit one guy and now everything is doomed. But look, this is just a fun game. Also, I also enjoyed the time trials because it was one of the things of like, how can I get better? How can I get the fastest lap time? How can I hold my rankings in the game? Because like my brothers would play and everything, and then you would go and check the leaderboard and see if has anybody beat your score on any of the maps, or what was the fastest lap time, or what was the fastest completion of a map. Alright, so this is the fifth and final map called Silence, and man, the if you can just see in the bottom left of the screen the just pin turns that destroy me. So those are the introductions of mines. You can take that shortcut, hopefully saving time, and get over there and hopefully the like, oh yeah, save a few seconds, cut in front of the enemies. Or you can fuck up, hit a mine, and then drop to fourth place where you just hit every other wall in sight. Some like professional F-Zero players gonna watch this and be like, wow, this is just garbage. Or just another better player than me is gonna watch this and be like, wow, this is garbage. I used to be able to do this because you want to just like, you have to turn so quickly and just cut that corner to save a lot of time. I used to be able to do it so consistently, and then it was just like, I can do it every so often. If I don't hit anything, I'm pretty sure I can do the jump. I'm just not ready for it. But this is the first race that has me constantly charging per lap because my strategy is to take damage. Okay, yeah, no, I didn't want to go that way. I wanted to go around the long way. I changed my mind halfway through there. I also like how all of that happened, and I'm still in third, so wonder what happened to the rest of the contestants. Like, there should still be a pretty decent amount. But yeah, as you can see, this is I hit a lot of the walls in this one. I'm not saying I'm the best at this level. I'm saying this is probably one of the levels where even without enemies, I'm going to be taking damage. And but you know, we gotta keep moving forward. I love the color scheme of this level because it's like a purple orange, and like the little like monuments and like stone pillars in the background change. That's something that like rarely ever do I take my eyes off the map, but like seeing the moon in the background for this like long portion with this like purple moon is something that's like, oh, really cool. And then you have like this orange hill sunburst in the background on this one, and it's like, oh, that's really cool too. Um, the funny thing is, as you can see, I don't use boost on this level because there's never appropriate time to use it except for right here at the end where I will take second. I am happy with that finish. And then I think since I finished all five, it should recap. Yeah. So the first race that I did, I placed third with 2:16.23 because I choked it away at the end. Second race got first place with 2:25. Okay, actually a lot of these go about the same pace even with how long the map is perceived to be. Third place started in fourth, came back, got that first place finish. So it would be a third, first, lap 4, another first place finish. I'm pretty actually happy with the times that I was getting on all of these. And then lap 5 or 5th rank or 5th map, second place finish. So overall, like, pretty happy with how I did for this one. Even though I know it's beginner class, I know this is like the easiest records and everything like that. But I thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in. And until next time, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Have a good one.